Welcome back to the Vera House podcast. On today's episode, we talk about where's Francine. If you don't know Francine, she is the cat that lives at the local Lowe's. We talked about some guy flipping his car down Monument and taking a little selfie action with the cops. We talk about people getting pepper sprayed at the recent Turnstile concert, and we talk about a bunch of other fun Richmond topics.
Yeah. We talked about the amphitheater and some of the shows coming to town, and talked about some crazy shows that we've been to that we had like a good experience and maybe not a good experience. Talked about some city development, and yeah, it's a good episode. So stay tuned. You've seen those people that made like stories, almost like mini episodes of a TV show, but only on their Instagram, where they're like running around town. There's like cuts and different camera angles and all this kind of stuff. Like a lot of work went into it. So this guy made these videos and he just was impersonating like a roadman. And I think in like the UK crime scene or like gangster scene is like a thug, but he's like the guy that drives a car. He's like, "Where you going, bro? I'm the roadman. And he was the guy's Uber. Like this unsuspecting kid called an Uber, and the roadman pulls up. He's like, "You Eric did it. Get in the car. We gotta go. Gets in the car. He's like speeding and driving and whipping through traffic. He's like, here, hold this. He's like, get the gun from the back seat. Hold it. He's like, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just trying to go to work. It's like, screw that. We're not going to work. We're going to rob the bank. It's like, I need to go and call my mom. He's like, screw your mom. We got business to take care of. And he like drives him through town, like does deals of like gets like dudes to roll up on him and scare him. He's like, come on, get out the car. Get out the car. He's like, we got to get in this car. He's like, what about that car? He's like, I stole that car, man. Come on, get in the car. It's the most fun shit. I got to find it and send it to you.
Yeah. Could you imagine like if you're that kid or that guy and you're just like trying to commute to school or work or something?
Yes. And like you hear those like horror stories of like crazy Uber drivers. This is like that to the extreme. I went to Detroit for a music festival a few years ago with my sister. And it was my first time to Detroit. Love it. Like great city. Had a blast at the fest. But we got Uber from the festival to our hotel. And it was not as crazy as the roadman. But this woman picked us up. And she's really on 100. It's already this really intense, blasting the music, talking to us. And me and my sister sitting in the back like, we just want to get to the hotel. Like we're just trying to get back safe. And she's like whipping through traffic on the highway, missing the exit like multiple times. And we're like, you should have got off there. She's like, no, it's okay. I know a shortcut. And we see the GPS like reroute and then reroute again. And we're like, this lady is taking us for a ride. Like, this is crazy. We made it safe though.
I've had two Uber mishaps. One story is way too long to tell. We would need a whole episode for that. But I was in Miami one time and we took a Lyft and the Lyft driver pulled a bat on me. And I don't even remember who I was with or what trip. I used to go to Miami like 4 times a year. I don't even remember what trip it was, but I was in Miami and we were calling an Uber and like couldn't get one. So we switched over to Lyft. And the Lyft driver shows up, picks us up. We start driving and then he pulls over and he's like, all right, get out. We're like, what? And it's hot. It's like over 100 degrees. It's like Miami summer. And we're like, what? What's the issue? And he's like, get out. And we're like, what is going on? And he's like, where are you going? We're like, just up here. It's like a mile. It's like 1 mile up the thing. And we were going to like our hotel or going to a show or something. And he was like, yeah, it's not long enough. Get out. And I'm like,
why'd you pick us up?
Like, why'd you accept the ride and pick us up and let us in the car? And like, what?
Also, I thought when you said bat, I thought you were talking about like a bat. Like,
a bat.
Like animal? A sky rat? I thought you were talking about a bat.
That would be a crazy story. This is almost just as crazy though. And of course, me being me, I was like, what? I'm like, dude, do your job. What are you talking about? Like, why are you driving Lyft if you don't want to drive people around? What?
Yeah.
And, I get it if it's not a ride he wanted to tip, but why did you, anyway, the guy pulls over on, like Brickell Avenue, like downtown Brickell, and gets out of the car, pops his trunk and pulls a bat out. And he's like, get out of the car. And I'm just kind of bewildered. I'm like, what in the world? And so we obliged and got out of the car and we just walked.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've had some crazy Lyft. Like Lyft is always a problem, man.
Yeah. I think it's between Lyft and Uber. Lyft is usually the sketchier one.
It's like the backup. It's the backup plan.
Because I don't know if you talked about it on the pod, but you told me about the Lyft driver driving into you. I think you did mention that where you're driving the truck and this Lyft driver tried to take a left turn, but he was in the right hand lane and you were in the left lane. He turned into your car.
Yeah. He turned right in between, because I'm in my truck, which is lifted a little bit, and he drove perfectly in between my two wheels, turned into the side of my truck, but didn't hit the truck. The front end of his car went under the truck, which legitimately launched me into the air and almost flipped me over. It was crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Speaking of trucks getting flipped over, I found this. It's so funny and very, very indicative of Richmond as a whole, just the type of city this place is. So I think a week ago, there's a photo of a guy that popped up on Instagram, and I'll show you the picture here, or if you want to pull it up on Reddit, but it's just a guy standing on his truck. Take a look at this. It's a guy standing on the side of his truck at the intersection on Monument Avenue. It looks like Monument and Lombardi. Whoa. He's standing on his truck, which is flipped over on the side. And there's a cop across from him taking his photo as he's standing on the side of his truck.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's literally on its side.
I saw this. I'm like, what is happening here? And I just looked at the comments, and the first post is can anyone explain what's going on here? And the first comment is I took this picture. Guy on the car got in an accident. Got the cop to take some pics of him on top of his car while they waited for the tow truck. I thought it was funny. And then you go down further and there's another picture from the cop's angle. And it's just, it is legit. This guy making a pose on the side of his truck that's flipped over in the intersection.
Okay. It's kind of a great photo. I could understand why he's all right, I mean,
I'm screwed.
I flipped my truck in the middle of Monument. Could you at least help me out?
Yeah.
And take a photo of this? That is pretty ridiculous.
And there's more comments. Funny. It looks like it was a hit and run, and this guy was just left with his truck flipped on its side. So he was making the best of it. So he gets on the car and gets the cop to take a photo of him.
Somebody said, that's a 4Runner. Just flip it back over and it'll go another 400,000 miles. Yeah. And then someone said,
posted on Facebook Marketplace for $20,000.
So true.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought that was great. I was like, yep, that's a Richmond thing. That is a very awesome Richmond thing.
Yeah, that's wild. Dude, I cut my own hair right before I got here with kitchen scissors.
I'm not surprised. I feel like that's a Myke thing to do.
Yeah, my barber's out of town, man. He's in New York until January or something.
Yeah, you were saying you needed a haircut a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was getting a bit mullety, man. I mean, it was a mullet, but it was getting it
was getting out of control.
It was getting hardcore mullet, And after my rant last week on the government and I was like, man, I should probably cut my hair a little bit.
So did you just take some kitchen shears and just...
That's exactly what I did.
Just go to town? I mean, no.
Okay, cool.
So you did a good job.
Nice.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Nothing a mirror and a pair of kitchen scissors can't handle.
Yeah, modern society, well-to-do, successful gentlemen cut their own hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking in the mirror. I was like, man, I got a pretty gnarly Kentucky mudslide going on in the back of my head. And, what started as an experiment, I liked it. And then I'm like, all right, it's getting a little long. So,
Kentucky mudslide. That's amazing. So can we talk about the biggest thing in Richmond news? We talked about mega projects. We talked about government corruption. We talked about fancy swindlers. We have to talk about Francine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's the biggest thing. Apparently it's the biggest thing. I didn't know anything about it, and it just keeps popping up on my feed. So inevitably I had to look into it.
Yeah.
And I guess there was a cat that lived at the West Broad Street Lowe's for 8 years is now missing. And when I read that and I saw like, there's like flyers, there's a mock-up of the cat on a milk carton. And I don't know if that's real or not, but regardless, and this may be a hot take, but this is why I think people look at Richmond as a small town.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, when our biggest celebrity is a cat.
A cat that lived at the local hardware store.
Yeah. Many years, like probably 4 or 5, maybe even longer than that, 5, 6 years ago, I was in there and I just saw the cat and I didn't know anything about it. And I just posted like a quick little video of me petting the cat.
Yeah.
And somebody had responded to my story on Instagram and was like, "That's Francine." And I was like, "Oh, what does this mean?" They're like, "Yeah, that's like the local Lowe's cat."
Yeah.
And they had I don't know who it was, but they told me that the cat lives there. And sure enough, pretty much every time I've ever been in there, you see the cat. So it is really like upsetting. Like it's a shame, and I digged into it because I saw all those posts as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think what happened was that the cat was outside wandering around and wandered onto one of the distribution trucks.
Oh,
because there's a bunch of people that are, working and putting effort into finding Francine. And they, got onto the security cameras and stuff at Lowe's to try to figure out where was she last seen. Mm-hmm. And she was last seen wandering onto one of the trucks. And then sure enough, that truck closed its door and then went to like the Lowe's distribution center in North Carolina. So they got in touch with the distribution center, and sure enough, the people that worked there said, actually, we did see a cat on one of the trucks, and that it wandered off the truck and wandered into like the yard somewhere or something. And so it's a huge thing now. There's a petition, and now there's an Instagram account dedicated to it called Where's Francine? The local news has been talking about it. And whoever's behind this page, they've put together resources to help in a petition because they're trying to get Lowe's itself, the Lowe's Corporation, to like assist, because obviously they have contact to all the employees and like internal newsletter and security footage and all these other things. And so I think that's where things are at. I think the cat's been missing for about 2 weeks as of the time of this recording, but yeah, hopefully they find the little cat. And because I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a cat, but I wouldn't, if you're living in Lowe's for 8 years, you're like, oh, this is cool. This is my home. This is a pretty big home.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like on a truck headed to North Carolina. It's like,
you know what they say, man. Curiosity got the cat a free ride to North Carolina.
Yeah.
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 Cats be doing their own thing, man.
I know.
And it's one of those things, especially, I had a couple of cats when I was growing up, and indoor, outdoor, there's like the difference between the cats that live only indoors and the cats that live indoor and outdoor or only outdoors. That's an outdoor cat. It had a house because it was at the store. Yeah. But the cat can like roam freely. It wasn't I don't think it was anyone's personal, like I claim this pet type of thing. Cat's down to go for a free ride, hops on a truck, is going for a free ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would imagine she knows how to maybe hunt little rodents and stuff, hopefully. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a bummer. And it's the main thing, like on my feed at the moment.
Yeah, it was surprising to me that it started to get a lot of traction, and I didn't know what was going on because I didn't really look too much further into it at first. And then I kept seeing it from the Francine account, and then from friends that were sharing it. I was like, okay, this is like a big deal. And now it's on Channel 6 and probably on Channel 12.
Yeah.
And like, this is making, citywide, at least countywide news. And I don't know, it's a cat. That's unfortunate that the cat's missing. Is it newsworthy? I don't know.
Dude, it's Francine, man. Of course. What is more important?
What is more important than Francine the cat? I don't know, man. Just, yeah.
Well, do you remember?
Nothing, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the number one priority is we got to find Francine.
Yes, that is the singular priority of the entire city as of today.
I agree. Do you remember the whole thing, this is maybe last year, about the deer that someone killed in Hollywood Cemetery? Did you hear about that?
No, I don't think I did.
So I don't know if you know this, there was a white buck, like a white deer.
Wow.
And it lived in Hollywood Cemetery or very close by. And people would see it all the time and take pictures of it. And it was kind of similar. It was almost like a celebrity in some ways, Obviously not as friendly as a little cat that you can go up and pet and feed and stuff. But,
Yeah.
you know, it was a pretty like iconic thing in Hollywood Cemetery. And some hunter, I think he was from like Hanover or something, literally drove into Hollywood Cemetery and killed it. And then like was proud of it, took pictures of it and stuff as if it was like some sort of game hunt that he had killed.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty sure that guy went to jail. But there was like outrage about that. Obviously totally different scenario. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's Richmond, man. You know, we've got these quirky little things that we all love and stand behind and find interesting, you know, just all these strange little things. And that was another one. That was another one of those.
That's a big part of the community. And, you know, whether you're in agreement with it or not is kind of irrelevant. The community always bands together for a common cause, whatever the cause is. And that's something that people take a lot of pride in. You know, they champion themselves and then they champion Richmond as the kind of like cultivating reason for this community coalescence. Like the reason that people can get around and rally to find a cat that lived at a Lowe's is because of the place that this is and the type of people that come here.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like it's pretty cool. You know, the deer thing, that's ridiculous. Like the guy is very well, like, you know, he got the punishment that he deserved. Like you drive into a cemetery and like, I don't know if you shot it with a gun or an arrow, but like, whatever, you drive into a cemetery with the singular goal and focus is to like hunt a deer and then show it off on the internet. I'm sure. Like, bro, what are you doing? And you didn't even live here. You had to come from out of town to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's ridiculous.
It is. It's completely ridiculous. It's for like, what's
just
so stupid.
He's the guy that has a bass in his hand on his Hinge profile.
Yeah.
It's that guy.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of like some of these young, like, do you know what IRL streamers are? Like in real life streamers.
Yeah.
You know, people like that, where you're like, your entire psyche is revolved around clout and like attention and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, cause why else would you do that? You got to be so out of touch to be like, oh, I'm going to wander into this place. And like, and I mean, definitely not standing up for the guy, but I mean, if you just had no clue and I don't even know. I guess there's no excuse for doing that.
There is no excuse, man. Like you think about what would it take for him to do that? He has to drive from Hanover, which is 45 minutes with traffic, to get to Richmond and into the Fan, which you have to drive through VCU to Oregon Hill to the Hollywood Cemetery, which is gated with a 12 to 13 foot fence. Go doing the open hours, which is Monday through Friday, whatever their hours are. Drive in, you have to drive in there. You can walk from the street, but you probably would drive in and just hunt a deer in a cemetery.
Yeah, in the middle of the city.
It's like you thought it was cool that you went hunting, but like there's just so much wrong with that scenario.
Definitely agree.
But again, yeah, it's, you know, not something that is high up on my personal priority list, but it does just remind me that the community here is strong when there's something to stand behind.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Did you see, did you see a bunch of people got pepper sprayed at the Turnstile concert on Browns Island?
No, I didn't see that.
I don't know. I guess just talking about like community and stuff made me think about that. You know, I've been going to shows since I was like 13 years old, going to Alley Cats and all that stuff. And I've always thought the evolution of Turnstile as a band was really interesting. I don't know how much you know about them, but
I don't really know like anything about the band other than like it's like a rock hardcore band or something like that.
Yeah. Well, they started as like a hardcore band and now they're almost like, they still definitely have that like hardcore feel. And you can tell when you look at the clips and the videos and stuff from the show. And it's hard to make out exactly what happened when you look at the video, but you know, I guess maybe when you go to Browns Island and the security there is seeing a hardcore show for the first time, they're like, what is going on with these
because it looks like a fight.
Right.
It was like a brawl.
Exactly. And then start pepper spraying people. Could you imagine you go to like a hardcore show and you're there?
I'm going to go get in the pit.
Yeah. You go there to mosh and all of a sudden you're getting pepper sprayed.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And like, it's one of those things again, like I don't understand the hype because it's not in like my, you know, it's not in my sphere of like viewership. Like I don't listen to Turnstile. really go to a lot of like hardcore shows, at least not anymore.
Yeah.
And I saw that it sold out like immediately because I've seen, you know, a lot of posts from like the Broadberry and the group that puts on those shows down there just to see if there are any bands that I want to go and see. And I saw Turnstile pop up. And my friend Lindsay works for the Broadberry and like the group that puts on the shows. And she posted the flyers like, no, to all of my friends, I can't get you VIP. Sorry, it's already sold out. And I was like, what is Turnstile?
Right.
Why is it sold out? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. No, I had a buddy of mine text me like early in the year and was like, are you going to Turnstile? I was like, yeah, man, I'm down. Like, when's that? And he was like, September. I was like, it's like that's like the end of the year. It's like 9 months from now. And in my mind, I was like, well, it won't be sold out. Like I'll get tickets later.
Right.
And sure enough, it was sold out, which is, how do you sell out Browns Island? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe because I mean, I know the gates for the show are not like right where you walk into the show. Like you have to go to will call or to like where you can purchase or show your ticket.
Yeah.
And then you have to walk back towards the stage, pass all the food vendors and past the bridge that connects Browns Island to the downtown area. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have to set a capacity so that there aren't too many people there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. How do you sell out an island that holds 10,000 people?
And what this says is that the capacity of Browns Island is 16,000 people.
Well, there you go.
Dude, there's no
way they had 16,000 people show up.
That is crazy. And the new amphitheater is 7,500.
That's all like seated seats and whatnot.
And have you been yet?
No, I haven't been yet.
Okay, so I went for Leon Bridges and Charlie Crockett and whoever else was playing.
Yeah.
And it's definitely cool. It's like a very cool venue, but I will say crazy overpriced. Like I'm not even one to really complain about that type of stuff, but I saw where people were saying that. And then I got there and I'm like, oh, this is definitely overpriced.
Yeah.
And very cool venue. And I'll give it some slack because it's going to take time for them to like recoup their money that they put into it, I guess. But it's a bit unorganized compared to what you would expect.
Yeah.
You know,
the new kids on the block, they don't really know what they're doing and finding their footing and all that.
Yeah. And it's weird because they have like lawn seating, right? But you can't bring any of your own stuff.
Like your own.
Can't bring your own chair and stuff.
So you have to pay for that.
Yes.
You have to pay for lawn seating, but you can't bring a chair to sit on.
Right. And they don't make it they're not helpful as far as making you aware that you can't do that. Like you basically like you can only bring clear bags. Or actually I think they said no bags. It's either no bags or clear bags. You can't bring your own stuff. You can't bring your own seating or anything. And then when you get there and you have a chair, they say you can't bring it in, but we'll store it for you. So then they sell you a ticket. So it's $10 per item for them to store your item. And then once you store your item, then they're like, oh, well, we'll sell you a chair. So then you can rent a chair from them for like $25 or something.
All right.
Okay. So then you get in, and if you have like lawn seating, there's just like lines spray painted on the ground, sort of. And then there's security everywhere, which that's good. But you get in and it's like, there's really no rhyme or reason to any of it. It's especially if it's a busy show, like you can hardly even find a place to put a chair. And it's, it's a little bit chaotic. There's only bathrooms on one side, and the bathroom situation was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I walked up, this is what blew my mind. During the show, I walked up to the restroom, and the line for the men's bathroom was like so long.
So not enough bathrooms.
Something like that. Yeah. And I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever seen a men's bathroom line like that ever. Like it was crazy, crazy long.
Yeah.
And even the women were like mind blown. They're like, what is going on in the men's bathroom? And I mean, I guess you could say it was majority guys at the show. Like that didn't stand out to me. It wasn't something that I thought of until I'm looking at the line of the bathroom. I'm like, is it all guys here? Or like that wasn't the impression that I got.
Did you go to the bathroom?
Well, in pure Myke fashion, I just walked right up to the front of the line because I was like, there's no way that this is what's going on, because I had gone into the restroom at the very beginning of the show, and there are a ton of stalls and stuff. What was happening is like somewhere along the way, someone in line, I guess, just started waiting at the entryway. And then what they didn't realize is that there's an exit on the other side of the bathroom.
Yeah.
So you can go in and you can exit out the other side. So I guess people didn't really know that. So they're standing there just waiting for one person to come out the same direction.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't happening. So then everyone's just standing there. And I had a hunch. I'm like, something is going on here, you know?
Something's up.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm a conspiracy theorist, man. I was like, this is a conspiracy. There's something happening here. So, I walked up and there's a guy in the front of the line. I was like, I'm just going to see something. And I walk in and it's like the whole bathroom's empty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected.
You're an idiot.
Yes.
Go to the bathroom.
Yes. But I don't know. So as far as like organization and whatever's going on there, it's a little bit crazy, but show was good. The sound was actually much quieter than I expected. But then oddly enough, reports the next day said that it was like the loudest concert that they had there and that people could hear it, like way further than earlier in the year.
Yeah.
There was homeowners and stuff that are like, I can hear the concert. I've never heard it before. And now all of a sudden I can hear it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So long story short, amphitheater's cool, overpriced, bit chaotic. I think as it go, I think it'll smooth out and all that good stuff, but it was cool. It was fun. Had a good time.
Well, I definitely want to check it out so that I can, experience it, see what it's really like, confirm or deny any of the kind of the stories that I've heard about it, see what the bathroom is like in reality. And I guess I'll just have to wait for a show that I would actually want to go and see.
Yeah.
Which up until this point, there really haven't been any.
Yeah.
When we were first kind of starting to talk about it, I think right before it opened, that was something that I looked at. I was like, another really cool venue with a less than stellar lineup. Sweet. Way to go. Because the National's not really doing it. The Browns Island shows are actually doing the most work with like a variety of shows that are really good. But the new amphitheater was just kind of like, it leaves a little bit to be desired, and let's see where they go with that.
Yeah. Well, the amphitheater's got these big corporate sponsors and stuff, and it's going to attract like generic music because they need to fill the seats. Yeah. Right. It's like you can't get more generic than like Dave Matthews.
Right.
Right. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, it's like, I'll have a number 2, please. It's like, okay, here's number 2, it's like,
no modifications.
Yeah.
No custom.
And guy's talented or whatever, but yeah, it's what you would expect from like a big corporate sponsored stadium thing.
And then you think about, or I think about like what the show that I saw maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior was the Flaming Lips, which I saw the Flaming Lips for the first time at the National like 12 years ago.
I heard that show was awesome.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Like these guys have been doing it since like 93 and they're still rocking. They're old as shit, but their show is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So highly recommend if it's ever coming up in your part of town or when you're looking at a festival lineup, go see the Flaming Lips.
Yeah. I was just talking to Jody from Point 5 and they were vending at that show. She said it was awesome.
It was so cool. They blew my mind at the National because I'd never really seen anyone perform a show like that. They have all of these crazy like party favors and things that they add to the show. And at the time, my buddy was the GM there and he was like, this is the most stage production that we've ever done at this venue. You're going to like lose your shit on this show. No lie. Like they brought out the lead singer. I don't know what his name is, but he brought out like, there's a camera on the microphone that's this close to his face. And there's a giant screen behind him that they all walked out of. So they walk out of this big LED screen and they shut the screen behind them. And the screen is the camera on the front of the microphone. So it's just his face. That's like right here.
Yeah.
So it's mega big behind him and it's a huge band. So like, 3 or 4 guitar players, keyboard player, drummer. And they have, in every one of his shows, he has a big orb that he will like inflate and then like climb out onto the crowd with the mic and like still perform the show and then climb back on the stage and like unzip it and get out of it and then blow up these giant inflatable robot like balloon characters and they'll like shake them to make it look like they're dancing to the song. And then there's like confetti cannons and he had these giant paper mache hands that were the size of a person that were like suspended from the ceiling. He put his hands into them and then lasers came out of it. And he's like waving the lasers at everybody. It's like, you had to be on acid to really vibe with the show, but
man,
it was incredible.
I'm so jealous. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And nobody got maced.
Nobody got maced. It's kid friendly. And at the end of the show on Browns Island, they covered war pigs because rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Super cool.
I went to the weirdest show I've ever been to when I was in Brooklyn, man. It was like seriously the weirdest show.
Yeah.
Like when you think of going to a concert, you don't think of the word awkward, but like it was awkward. It was so weird. You know, I think I showed you like a brief clip of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure you are as well, but I'm a bit of an audiophile. Like I just like cool sounds and instruments and great singers and just like good music. And I listened to this artist. She's Swedish. Her name is Jana Lee, and went up to Brooklyn for the show, camped out in the Catskills. But when I went to the show, I was fully expecting like a full on dance party. That's what I was expecting. You know, it was like a New York basement dance party. Okay. I get there and, you know, get settled in, and I'm looking at the crowd that's kind of coming in. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of like a little all over the place. You know, you got like me, you got like some, you know, like just random middle-aged or even like above middle-aged men. Then you got the whole like alternative crowd. You got some people wearing like sequin dance outfits and wigs, and like it was just very weird. We had to wait like 2.5 hours for the show to start, and so as everyone's waiting for the show, everyone's just kind of standing as if the show was happening, but it wasn't. The stage is empty. So imagine you kind of like file in and then you're standing there and you're just like waiting, and everyone else is also waiting. So you're standing there and it's like, okay, and nobody's really like conversing or being social. And along the way it just clicked. I'm like, oh, this is like a bunch of socially anxious, weird people that listen to weird music, all packed into a venue like sardines. And, you know, then the show starts. And of course, like the people that make the greatest music are like the weirdest people,
right,
you know, often.
Right.
And so then you got this weird act on stage with her producers that are like not viewing the crowd, and they're not like performers. They're just like weird music nerd guys with like glasses and hoodies on. And it's like, it was the weirdest thing, man.
That sounds like the most Brooklyn thing to like ever experience. Like when I think about what would go on at a concert in Brooklyn, it's that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is nothing that I can say that would like accurately explain how strange it was. It was the weirdest thing, man. Well, very weird. But I'm jealous of Flaming Lips because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I'm hoping that, you know, with like seeing the Broadberry like event group do those types of shows and see the turnout like a Turnstile can bring, the amphitheater takes note and mixes up the lineup a little bit. Yeah. You know, I think they can definitely do that with a lot of success. I'm rooting for you. Let's go. Let's get some good acts in there.
Yeah.
Let's make Richmond as cool as everybody thinks it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the biggest part of the new redevelopment or the revitalization projects that a lot of older Richmond folks and people that have grown up here and in like certain scenes are like kind of bummed at, is because it seems like they're just wiping the slate clean with all this stuff that made Richmond cool in the first place. And a lot of people would call that gentrification, but we all know that it is for the best. It's an old city and it needs a new facelift in a lot of places. So the intentions are usually good, but you got to keep the spirit there. Otherwise it just becomes like everybody else's city. And you know, that's what makes this place unique and why people want to come here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, the river itself is like one of our most unique aspects. So the fact that we can go down there and watch a concert on the river and stuff, you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before, but I don't think that, you know, it doesn't take away from our nature that we have here. You know, it's like those two, you know, those handful of islands down there are owned by the city. So they, you know, it's either they have buildings and parking lots on them, or you utilize them for the citizens of the city, you know, for fun events and green spaces and parks and community led stuff, you know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, you know, culture and parts of Richmond that are old and need a facelift. Osborne Landings, Hadad's Lake just got sold.
Really?
Do you know what Hadad's Lake is?
Yeah. I used to go when I was a kid.
Okay. I went when I was a kid. And then I went when I was in my like early 20s. And then I went when I was in my late 20s and like early 30s even. It's been around forever and ever and ever and really hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
It was a super cool in concept and in theory, it was a super cool natural lake. So like man-made, or not natural lake, but a man-made lake and like a water park. There were slides, there was a rope swing that had like the blob thing where you like sit on it and somebody jumps on that and like launches you into the air.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a chunk of my leg is at the bottom of Lake Hadad's from like my leg going through the little trampoline bouncy thing with the springs, you know?
You and a lot of people like lost some skin there.
Yeah.
I know a woman who like broke her ankle jumping into the shallow end because the way they designed it was a concrete pool that they dug up and just poured flat concrete in and then lined the bottom of it with sand, like sand from a lake, I would assume.
I never knew that.
So the bottom of it was sand. And the water itself was murky, like a lake. You couldn't see through it. And it was usually green, like an old lake or like a lake with a bunch of crap in it. But it had some charm. You know, it aged the way that something like that would age without any renovations. It was very much stuck in the 90s. Every time I went there, I was like, man, this is a blast from the past. Like old wooden gazebos, concrete everything. Just really crappy bathrooms and facilities and like a grumpy lifeguard, right? That was the charm about this place.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can remember multiple birthday parties by like, you know, friends of mine. My buddy Long John's DJ'd a rager out there. Slaughterama was out there for a couple of years. I don't know if you remember or like ever did Slaughterama.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar though.
It was like, that was like the successor to Best Friends Day.
Yeah.
And I'm so bummed. I never made it to Best Friends Day and I never went to Slaughterama, but I was a huge fan of Hadad's Lake. And I remember the last time I went there, it was somebody's birthday party and we were all in our like late 20s, just about 30s. And one of our buddies did the rope swing, like launched himself into the pond and he like came out of the water holding his face. I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, I don't know. My jaw feels weird. And it didn't look crazy, but then his like whole face swelled up. And we all went back to my house afterwards. And then he went to the doctor the next day, broke his jaw because he hit the water the wrong way.
Broke his jaw from hitting the water?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Broke his jaw. And like shortly after that, Hadad's was closed because that was like one of numerous injuries and like allegations about them not being like sanitary because the water was gross and all this kind of stuff. So it hadn't gotten any love for years. And it looks like now it's been sold and there's not a lot of information on it on the Channel 6 site, but it looks like this 7,600 person Osborne Turnpike Road, or 7,600 Osborne Turnpike Road was sold for just over $1 million. And there's a new construction plan in place. So more details on that soon, which is, I think is great, man. Cause I would drive past it to go to the lily pad and just, you know, you see the sign that's still there, says Hadad's Lake. And it just seemed like such a waste because it was a cool place. And with the, you know, some love, it could be another awesome addition to the city.
Yeah, it definitely could. I ride my bike by there, not all the time, but I mean, from time to time, like out on the Capitol Trail and riding out that way, I'll ride by there. And it's definitely pretty dilapidated. That's for sure.
It's rough.
I'm super interested to know, like, what's the plan? What's the concept? You know, does it say anything about like any of the future plans or like,
let's see
who bought it?
Let's see what I can find here.
Because, you know, like close by there is Celeste Farms.
Is that where it is?
Well, I mean, you know, Celeste Farms is not far from there. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, I've never been out there.
Celeste is great. And, you know, they've basically taken this area out there, which you would probably call the country. You know, it's the closest country that you can get to the city, which is great. Part of me feels like I'd like to buy property out there on the river. But Celeste has taken this like farmland, really cool property out there and put all the saunas and cold plunges. And there's a big barn and farm out there and a garden and all that stuff. And they do community dinners. And It's right out that way. So it'll be interesting to see like what type of unique concept somebody will come up with for a space like that.
Yeah, I pulled it up to see if I could find any more information. And on Channel 8, it says the buyer expects to release information to the public in the future regarding the plans for the property. Channel 8 News has reached out to OP Holdings LLC for comment. So no public information on the plans for the location. And that immediately makes me think that they're just going to bulldoze it and put something else there.
Right.
You know? That's kind of the trend nowadays. The argument can be made that there isn't a lot of interest or potential positive return on your investment for rehabilitating a man-made lake in the middle of the country.
Yeah. I mean, and even if you just think about, honestly, even just like community pools, like the Randolph community pool, like nobody goes there anymore. Like, it used to be packed. Like you used to go and, COVID has changed a lot of things.
It really did. And I think when I think about COVID, it seems like just a quick little flash, but it was a big chunk of like my life and my family's life and a lot of people's life. And the ramifications of what we had to do to adjust, to make do, to keep safe, to mitigate transmitting and, following the rules, the lingering effects are still going on. Like people are still, for lack of a better word, like traumatized in a certain way. And they operate within these new parameters that they kind of had to adapt to. And the same with business. Opening a pool and like just outside the city before COVID would have been a great idea, but now people are like not so interested in going to a giant public water pit where lots of people will be and sharing, bodily fluids.
Yeah.
Unregulated, no masks, just willy-nilly in the pool.
Hot dog flavored water, man.
Exactly.
It's like
the little Limp Bizkit reference.
Yeah. It's basically like a county fair, but in the lake.
It really was. Like the state, was it Virginia State Fair? That's out Caroline County?
Maybe. Yeah.
I haven't been out there. Have you been to the state fair?
No. I mean, if I have, it's been a very long time. Yeah. It's like, all right, come get your soggy funnel cake.
Yeah. Get your soggy funnel cake that costs you $27.
Yeah.
Watch the goats. Definitely watch the goats because there's usually like one really cool goat.
Yeah.
And then a pig that's like the favorite.
Yep.
And then you get on the zipper. That was like my favorite ride. I never got on it because I was terrified of it, but it was so cool to look at.
Yeah.
It's the one that like spins around like lengthwise, kind of like this. Like you get in a little car, a little metal car.
Yeah.
And like it spins around itself, but the thing also spins as a whole.
Yeah.
And it spins kind of slowly and you can like turn a wheel and like flip your car. But it always looks so busted.
Yeah.
Like I never wanted to get on it, but it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, half those things are, bubble gummed together. It seems like,
Yeah. I remember the spaceship, like the spinny spaceship that like goes really fast, terrified me.
Yeah.
I never wanted to get on it, but I also wanted to get on it.
Yeah.
As a kid. And I grew up and like I got a little older and then I finally got on one and it's not that scary. You just get in there and it spins really fast and you get stuck to the wall and you can like move around. And
oh, I know. Yeah. I know which one you're talking about now.
It's pretty gnarly for like the first time I got on it. It was gnarly. There's like a guy in the middle and the thing spins around him.
Yeah.
So he's like stationary and you're like spinning around him, but everybody else that's in there looks like they're not moving. It's just him that's moving because he's not attached.
Yeah.
It's trippy. And he's blasting like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Of course he is, man. Reminds me of that scene from Joe Dirt with David Spade.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yes.
It's definitely that vibe.
It's definitely that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cool stuff in Richmond, I found a Reddit thread that starts with, what is Richmond missing as a city to make it a more complete area for residents and visitors alike? Parentheses, besides Francine, this hasn't been posted in years, so curious to see some thoughts. And in of appropriate Reddit fashion, the people have spoken.
Yeah.
The first comment is a giant water slide from the top of the Federal Reserve into the James. Until this happens, we'll remain a second-tier city.
I mean, something's got to replace Lake Hadad, right?
Yeah, there needs to be some wide sweeping innovation to make the city cool.
Yeah. I love that. It says at least a few more vape shops if we want to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think we need like a dozen more, like really step our game up.
Yeah. Somebody said, or at least brighter lights. Have you seen the vape shops in major metros? We are not quite visible from space yet.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a good one here. Close Carytown to vehicle traffic.
I saw that.
Edit. I'm envisioning something similar to the Church Street Marketplace in Burlington, Vermont. I actually don't hate that. I think we talked about that because of the Watermelon Fest. Like a thoroughfare, I think is what they call that.
Yeah.
Like a walkable street part of town that's like a shopping district, like a promenade or something like that. Could be cool. Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff happen in Carytown, right? Like even just on the show, we talked about car flipping in Carytown, right? Somebody threw down the community fridge.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy, there's car accidents. There's all kinds of stuff, people speed through there like crazy, and not to sound like an old man, but
slow it down, you youths.
Yeah. It's like, there's no, I don't know. There's no parking in there to begin with, especially on the weekend, like on the weekend specifically.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of the people that come to Carytown with their car, especially on a weekend, aren't people that live in the city.
Right.
So they're just parking wherever they can find parking. And there are some parking garages. Maybe one day in the future they could add, other levels to those parking garages or something. I don't really know. But if you think about the 17th Street Market down in Shaka Bottom, you used to be able to drive through there, what is that? The Cuban place.
Havana.
Yeah, thank you. Havana, right? So like those streets, Havana 59.
59, yeah.
Even right there by Lulu's and all, you used to drive right through there. And what was it? Sullivan's or
that was down there?
The diner. I don't know. I can't think of what it was called. But yeah, you could drive down those streets there, and then eventually they just closed them off, and now you can't drive through there anymore.
Yeah, man. I think I actually like the like close Carytown to cars and make it street traffic idea, because we don't have a place like that. You'd think about, it actually reminds me of Santa Monica. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a shopping area. It's an outdoor shopping mall similar to like Shore Pump Town Center. But it is right on the beach, and you park, walk over to it, and then you walk basically just down a street, because they're all like in one. It's not like in Shore Pump where there's like different avenues to go down. It's just one back and forth. You just walk all the way down one way and walk all the way back up the other way. Imagine if like Georgetown, you could walk up and down the streets in Georgetown. That's kind of what I'd imagine. That'd be cool. It'd be like a place where people could go and congregate. Like the VCU campus right on Cary and Harrison, where you can kind of walk through, and they have like the big circular symbol in the middle right next to Schaefer Court.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If that was somewhere else and bigger and had a bunch of stores in it, that would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it is, it's almost like a hybrid between what you would maybe see in the suburbs, but you do see it in certain cities, even Miami and even like Orlando, there's definitely like these big walkable shopping plazas and stuff, It makes me think like, I don't know, maybe shopping is just not a big thing here, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, like Carytown is really the only shopping district. Right. Besides Shore Pump and Stony Point, and then the other outliers like Regency Square Mall and the other malls that are around. You kind of have to destination shop. Like unless you're going to the mall, you're going to a store. You're not going to go shopping for like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you go to Carytown, you can hit like 3-4 shops.
Yeah.
And they're all usually locally owned, small business type of shops, which is great. I personally, selfishly, wish there were just more of it. I wish Carytown went like another 3 blocks. Like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, in some ways it's kind of getting there, somebody bought up the Acacia restaurant building, and
Yeah.
you know, so it is like slowly it's kind of extended to where PBR is and stuff like that. You know, what's a shame is that coffee shop that used to be there called Roastology, I think.
Yeah, man.
You know, and now it's like a design firm or something.
That's such a bummer. Roastology was a cool coffee shop, cool little outdoor area. I went there all the time because you can like go and work and hang out. Yeah, now it's in like a design firm or something.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if that would have remained there, that would have been part of that. Like, that would have contributed towards Carytown extending further. You know, but they've done a good job of extending it all the way down to Elwood Thompson, because it used to be that those few blocks there where the Publix and all that stuff, it was kind of like a dead zone.
Yeah.
You know, there definitely weren't shops there. And you can tell it's still kind of struggling a little bit. Like the Torchy Taco place closed down already, you know, but I think slowly it is kind of expanding. You know what places, it's definitely nothing like Carytown, and it's going to take some time to develop, but even like North Side and Brooklyn Park Boulevard, it's like slowly, it's not quite like a shopping district, but there's definitely little boutique shops and places where you can get a juice, and there's restaurants and stuff. And it is like slowly developing into a place where you could see yourself driving there, parking and walking around for, you know, an hour plus.
Yeah. I think that's like a good example of a boulevard or a main road and like I guess like a main drag through the city that had a bustling and was a bustling part of the city center 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And it went through economic downturn, and like the economy went to shit. Everything closed. The city bought a lot of the properties, and now it's very slowly coming back. And I grew up over there. Like when I was really young, me and my family lived over there. So I remember when Brooklyn Park Boulevard was the place you would go. You would go to like, I'd go to get my hair cut there. We go to like, there was a bakery on the corner. We always went to get cakes and goods. And I went to school down the street, because at the end of Brooklyn Park Boulevard, if you're coming from Chamberlain Avenue, there's a building there that used to be a school. And I used to go to school there. And now it's, I don't know what it is now. I think it's nothing. But you know, you've got the Smoky Mug is over there. There's like a cycle studio over there. There's there's Fuzzy Cactus. There's a boutique across or an art gallery, I think, is right across the street. So their businesses are coming back to that neighborhood, but slow. It's slow moving, man. Like you like, again, you'd have to go kind of specifically to a place, and then you might hop across the street, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I think the reason it's slow is because a lot of those places are serving the residents that live there now, you know, and it is, you know, people like Northside is the place to buy a house, you know, and at least, especially over the past few years, like, you know, a lot of our friends have like bought homes in that area because it's up and coming, you know, and yes, it's going to take some time. You know, one of my first jobs, you know, I've been fired from every job I ever had, basically. Look at me now, I'm a podcaster. Maybe that's why. But, you know, I used to work as like an office administrative assistant for this real estate company. Yeah. And I would just run the front office and the website and all that stuff. And I would also handle the appointments where people would go look at properties that they wanted to rent. And so it was management of a bunch of rental properties. And I would remember driving through like Overbrook and all that stuff. And it was, 2009. And like, it was a rough area, man. Yeah. Like it was not, I would drive out there and I'd be like, am I safe over here? Like,
no,
yeah,
you weren't.
Yeah, it was not. It's not the safest place.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see how much it's changed since then. So that's what, 15 years basically.
Yeah.
It's definitely come a long way, and it's only going to ramp up and speed up. So, but there's definitely cool stuff over there. Some tattoo shops and little boutiques and stuff like that. There's like the hamburger place, forget what it's called, but there's definitely stuff happening over there. So it'll be cool to see how this city continues to develop.
Yeah. We got a lot of good things in the works. We can definitely see that there is a concerted effort in certain places to that end, to make it more approachable, to make it more engaging to the community, to provide things that the community has been asking for. So we're going to keep an eye on it and stay tuned to the pod to hear what we come up with next.
100%.
Yeah. This podcast was recorded at Vera House Studios in Richmond, Virginia, and produced by Perri Young and Myke Metzger.